Okay, looks like I am good to go. Well, hello and welcome to the show. Welcome to today's show. I am Rufus Opus. This is the Rufus Opus show, I guess. I should come up with a name for it at some point. But today is not that day. So, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about an initiation boot camp that I've got coming up. Going to kick it off probably, well, I mean, today is officially the kickoff. Welcome to the boot camp. Not really, but we're going to be kicking off a series of shows, classes, lessons, whatever. Each week I'm going to go over one of the initiatory classes that I have on my site. They're all free now, so I'm just going to go ahead and just walk through at a high level what is going on in each of the videos, sort of get you interested, or I don't know, informed on the topics of initiation for that particular sphere. It's going to be a deep immersion into all of the symbols of the course. I'm sorry, of the sphere itself, right? So for the elements, we're going to do a deep dive into each of the elements, everything that they represent everywhere around the world, right? And not around the world, but everywhere within Hermetic magic and within the 16th century tradition in particular, for sure. And for me personally, how they manifest for me in ways that have been particularly practically effective for manifesting my desires and changing the world as I see fit within the constraints I seem to be stuck within. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about what initiation is. This boot camp is an initiation boot camp. The goal is to take you from not being initiated to everything you need to be a practicing magician, right? So from beginning to end, everything, right? Just everything that I think has been effective and useful for me. It helps you deal with all your crap. It puts you on a straight path to the divine. It gives you a personal experience with the all thing eventually. Maybe not off the top of the thing, but eventually it does get you there. It gives you a framework for dealing with the stressful bull crap that we have to deal with in life. And it provides you an engine of manifestation, an engine of materialization for you to create as a magician what you want to see happen today in this world in a more effective and more empowered way, right? And that's the goal of everything I'm doing, is to create as many empowered, hey Mystic, how's it going? And DJ, nice to see you. The goal of all this is to create empowered magicians who can do initiations and, who have been through the initiations and who can do magic, right? And I really feel like as you go through this process, it transforms you into a better quality individual. It makes you more yourself. It creates a network of solid and informed magicians doing the great work for themselves and for everybody else across the planet. It's going to be personally profitable to everybody. I mean, it provides a means to not have to worry about your food anymore. I mean, on a regular basis through materialization of your planned sources and methods of obtaining food, right? You know, it blesses your work. It blesses everything you do so that you're more profitable and more prosperous in it. You're recognized, you get acclaim, you get fed. It's a better way to live, right? You understand your role in things and you take advantage of it in a more proactive way. It does not fix everything, right? It doesn't heal everything. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't help you understand your place. Well, I mean, actually it does. It helps you understand your place in things better, like from a framework kind of way, but it doesn't it doesn't, hey, astrals, it doesn't make everything perfect, right? There's still struggles. Everything is still hard. You know, if you go into it poor and you go through these initiations, you're still going to be poor. At the end of it, you're just going to understand how to make things better for yourself. You know, you're still going to have to do the shit to make it better for yourself, though. You have to, it's not, I mean, you do get stuff just given to you, but it's not enough, right? I mean, to get what you really need, like, a lot of us think that, all right, when I was raised to believe a certain way about money and about whether or not I could get it. It took me a long time to realize that it's not how it worked and overcome that, right? And a lot of my initiations into Jupiter and Mercury and Mars and the Sun have made a big difference in my understanding of capital and the application thereof for my own personal benefit and how to use it in a way that it continues to grow, right? And it's all based on the occult. It's not based on economic theory. It's just based on doing magic and seeing things happen, right? And seeing if it worked or not, you know, and doing it again. So, anyway, yeah. So you're still going to have to do a lot of work to implement things. It does make things a lot easier. My catchphrase is always, or lately anyway, for years has been, life is hard and magic helps. Life is really hard for a lot of people right now. I really do expect there to be a civil war within a year. If there's not, I'm going to be sorely disappointed in my fellow Americans. I don't think that we're in a very safe place as magicians. I don't think we're in a very safe place as people who are kind to one another. I don't think that we are very well off. I want to see my kids safe. All right. And my kids are not safe in this world because of who they are and just what they think. And it sucks. It really sucks. And I'll be fine, right? I'll always be fine, you know. But I want to provide a world that is safe for them, a path to safety and joy, right? I think that's what every father should want for their kids. That's what I want for my kids. And to do that, I have to behave in a certain way. And it's not just for my kids. You know, I'm being selfish here. I'm expressing the personal emotive reasons behind what drives me, you know, in this incarnation, Joshua Gadbois, you know, why do I want to do all this stuff? I have a very personal reason that's very emotionally important to me. But at the same time, there's an immortal part of me. There's a spiritual part of me that manifests as this occult thing, right? Your sphere of your magician, as you go through these initiations, you're going to find that it changes. All right, if you're familiar with Carlos Castaneda's work, it was all crap, but he describes the change in the magician's sphere, and he's basing it on the change in the tincture of an occultist's sphere as they go through the alchemical great work. And it's a process of strengthening it and changing the way the energy flows through it. And I use energy loosely. It's to indicate more about how processes merge and change and interact with one another, how the forces of creation will mingle in harmony or in cacophony, right? In discord and in chord and in accordance with your intent and your desired outcomes, right? And your material resources and your fellow human beings that are all working together on this at the moment, right? That's sort of what you're tuning into. And that's what I mean when I say energies, right? It's not some invisible, use the force Luke energy I'm talking about the myriad of unseen variables that you are always trying to get rid of when you're trying to predict what's going to happen next, right? Science is about getting rid of all the variables and testing just the limited things that you're testing to see if you're right about how potassium nitrate works when it mingles with other chemicals. You know, if you're testing that particular chemical reaction, you need to know what's going to happen because it can be dangerous, right? So that's what science does. It takes away everything else, right? But in real life, we don't get that option. Everything is gray out here. That's what drives people who are not average or whatever, not in the dominant paradigm, the dominant system of society, the people in control that they call themselves neurotypicals, right? The dominant outlook on what is expected of your behavior as an individual incarnated within the confines of their culture and their society, they have dictated to us a set of behaviors that are acceptable and a set of behaviors that are unacceptable, right? And our behaviors, if you are considered a neurodivergent, are unacceptable and ill-adapted for the society that they want to maintain. And because of that, we are medicated, we are set aside, we are ignored, we are mocked, we are we're pushed to the fringes. And in the occult, that's where a lot of us are forced to go to, because the system is designed for people who can wear their masks in a regular way. And I'm really good at masking. I do really well in society. I'm great at it, okay? But I'm not well, all right? I'm not well. I haven't been since my majority. You know, I went through some crap as a child that I have found out since then changed everything about me. You know, and as I've peeled away the masks that I've put on over the years with my occult work, with the great work that I've done, I've peeled away layers until I found who I wanted to become based on who I found inside, right? The me inside, right? I was watching this Jim Carrey thing about how, you know, if you know Jim Carrey, he went through some crap, right? After Man on the Moon, he had a breakdown. But it wasn't just Man on the Moon. He was going through a breakdown for his whole career, had been a breakdown. And as he unpacked all that, he realized that he had become a person he had invented to get likes in Entertainmentville, you know, and he figured out who that was, and he had to put himself back together after that. As an occultist, we have to do that too. This boot camp and initiation I'm proposing is a process that did that for me, okay? I want to talk about the pros and cons about what we're going to be doing here, because it's not great to go through. It's not safe to go through, all right? And I don't want to scare people, because it's a process, in my opinion, my little opinion, I think it's great for everyone to go through, okay? But I've been through it, all right? And I've lost families, I've lost children, I've lost opportunities, jobs, years in poor relationships. I've lost so much trying to get rid of the things that I could have kept that would have let me fit in and get along and take my lumps and die miserable, because I believed that there was something better, something different. I saw that there was something wrong with the way things were, because I saw what it did to me, and I saw what I wanted to do and how I couldn't do it because of the way the system was designed. All right. And, you know, honestly, I took LSD when I was 16, after, you know, not ever going to therapy to deal with, you know, trauma as a child. And it reshaped the way I looked at things, and I saw the processes that led to me being harmed, right? And how it had changed me as a person. And I saw my behaviors while I was tripping and how they went back to stuff that I had never realized. And in that moment, I had a moment of awareness that reframed my experience of Joshness, right? And from there on, I built on that psychological trip experience, you know, and I was learning about the occult at the time, and I built all these symbol sets together in this understanding of reality that reflected my understanding of things, and I was still masking. I was masking like a mother grabber. All right, I'm trying to avoid cussing because of honestly monetization purposes. We need money. We all need money right now, okay? And especially if there's going to be conflict to come. All right, I don't want to hear it about capitalism right now. All right, I get it. Yeah, it's evil, it's corrupt, it's how we ended up here. But guess what? It's how we get resources to get the heck out, you know, to provide a safe space for ourselves. And I know people think I'm overreacting. I've seen it. I've seen people think I'm overreacting, and I'm like, you guys, you know, come on. No, this isn't overreacting. All right, I'm not. I'm talking to my therapist about this stuff. I'm dealing with things proactively. I'm not I'm not blowing a bunch of money doing a bunch of stupid crap. All right, I'm planning things out. I'm trying not to vent on Facebook. I'm really trying not to. Things that get through are actually just things that I consider safe to talk about because that's the phase we're in, is we're in the conversation zone, right? But the progression goes from conversation to protestation to conflict, right? And then it's either jail or death or whatever, revolution, you know? That's the path that history has. I'm not talking about this is what we're gotta do, guys. I'm not advocating this. I'm observing history and what's going on today. I'm trying to be honest here. I'm not freaked out about it. All right, as a magician, I know I'm going to be okay. But as a dad, I have a path towards what I consider okay should look like. Right? As an ally to my trans friends, I have a path towards safety that I'm trying to create. If there ever has to be an underground railroad, I'm happy to let people know right now, look me up. All right? Because fucking A, right? We got to be aware of the fact that we're living in some dire times. If you didn't read the Project 2025, and if you aren't paying attention to what they're doing, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're a dupe and you're complicit, and your complacency is the demise of the Republic, and that's what it's going to boil down to, in my opinion. And maybe I'm overreacting. Like I said, I went through some crap, right? But you know what? What they figured out is that genetically, what's going on for people who are neurodivergent, and this is what's coming out of science, you guys. If you remember science, it's what tells us what's really going on biologically and chemically in our lives that's impacting our behaviors. It's the truth. That gets lost in a lot of conversations here, but science has taught us that what's going on with neurodivergent people is we are genetically activated. Parts of our DNA have been activated, and it creates this ability to put together a bunch of crap that are a bunch of risk factors. That's why we're all anxious. We're looking for risk factors, and we put it together into a pattern, and we're able to identify patterns, and we're living in the moment. We're not able to remember people that aren't in front of us. We're not able to remember things that aren't right now, but we're brilliant in that moment. We can do these things that are incredible if we have our resources and our opportunities to do that. It's what makes people a good leader in stressful times. All right, and about half of us are really good at that kind of thing. And we've been triggered by people abusing us, taking advantage of our innocence and our youth for their own personal profit and pleasure. Right? Most of us have had that happen to us as children. Everybody who's mentally ill that I know had something terrible happen to you as a kid. And guess what? You grew up into this person now who's dealing with an insecure life. Society remains triggering, and it keeps us from turning off that part of our DNA because it's dangerous. It's dangerous out here. There is no safety protocol. We know who the predators were that got us, and we see that they're protected. We can still see it, We see it more now than ever. There's a gangster in the office, and there's a billionaire gutting the agencies that protect the consumers from the billionaires. It's not rocket science, you guys. Anyway, magicians, we're going into a phase of chaos, right? And as magicians, that's not bad for us. It's horrible to go through as a person who was raised in all this and expected it and wanted the good parts of it that were presented to us as children to be true. We wanted to believe in the United States of America. I did. I wanted to be a proud American. I would love to be a proud American, but I can't be anymore. They took that from me with the reality. And the reality is it was probably never like that, right? Whatever. I wish it were. It's not. We missed our illuminist whatever, but we have the world we have. And chaos is not bad for magicians. Chaos is where it all began. From chaos, Gaia emerged, right? That's where it all came from. Dread Nyx. Dread Nyx first. The dread night, the darkness is coming out of the chaos. But then comes Gaia and new birth. All right, that's how it goes. And who directs it? Well, according to the Orphics, it's Zeus. Zeus, who consumed the source of creation, who transformed himself into the demiurge and regrew the gods out of his very essence that he needed to create the universe in his own image. All right, that's the model I'm taking. That's the model for this initiatory course, is to return to a point where we have consumed our the thing that makes us initiate getting out of bed in the morning, what initiates our cells dividing within us. I want us to be aware of that consciously and connect to that, because I want as many people out there building up this world again in however you guys want to. I don't think I have the right answers about all this stuff. I think what I'm good at is how to put things together. I got a system. It's based on the 16th century grimoires. Okay, it's based on the Orphic traditions. It's based on my own experiences. It's based on a lot of drugs. Okay, it's based on understanding the corporate infrastructure that I do, how applications are made, how most of our society runs on digital freaking currencies. I've worked at I've worked for the Federal Reserve. I've worked for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for the federal government, you guys. I know so much about what's going on and how it all works. It's not my fault, all right? I'm just good at this crap. All right. Anyway, the point is all of this stuff, I don't know, it's all going to go away. All right. It's all going to go away. But the thing is I've been through all this stuff and I've learned how it's all going to work. I know what relies on what. I understand what the impact's going to be as these things fall apart. Okay. I can see it coming. It's not good. Yeah, anyway, so we've got to redesign things, okay? I'm good at putting together these systems for rebuilding reality. And if I can get other people in touch with their source, I can trust that. You know, I've looked around at human beings and they failed me. We suck. I'm bad at a lot of the things I try to do. I maybe understand not even what I need to do all the things I really want to do with my life. I can't make myself do all the things in a day that have to get done for me to do the things I need to do before I die to die a happy man. I've already had to face that and accept it, right? It's just what it is. I do my best, but I'm not great at it. And still, I'm better at it than so many people. What the actual fuck? Anyway, it's got to be the magic, right? You know, if an idiot like me can figure out how to do this stuff, it's got to be something bigger, you know? And I built something beautiful for myself and my wife, my kids, I hope. You know, I'm building something great, and I found a way to find happiness, right? And I think that if other people go through the stuff I've been through, it's going to help you guys become powerful in creating your own life, and you're going to do something good, because it made me want to do something good with my life. It made me want to do something beautiful with it. There's something about, it's like a positive nihilism that you get when you understand that there's just a certain level of inevitability that you can accept. But with this initiatory stuff you get, it gives you other options. You don't just have to sit there and take it. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't make you smarter. It doesn't make me smarter, for sure. I don't think it makes me smarter. I don't know. Maybe it does. It makes me know things better. It makes me know what to expect better, I think. I think that's where my success comes from. So anyway, when we go through this, what ends up happening in my opinion, within the magician, within your sphere, is it becomes in harmony with the tune of the rest of the universe. Okay, the theory is that this all thingness, this framework that we're calling Zeus, the essence of existence itself, manifested with the intent of understanding itself. All right, we're confused. We don't know why is there evil in the world? Why, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to figure it out. We're figuring it out through our lives, right? That's basically what Hinduism teaches, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You know, that's what reincarnation is for, I think. I could be wrong. You know, that's what the Greek reincarnationalists taught, something along those lines, as far as I understand it. But I could be wrong, you know. But that's what it looks like. It looks like the essence that makes up every human being as an individual materializes and emerges a consciousness, an ego, an understanding, and an approach to things, and expresses this essence of life, this electricity in our cells, through the chemistry of our brains and our emotions and our hearts, the brilliance of our poetry and our minds, you know, all the stuff that comes through this illuminated monkey. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing what we can do, or it's terrifying. It's terrifying too, right? But magic, what initiation does, is it purifies the crap that keeps you out of harmony with the intent to understand things. And I think it heals the rest of it as we heal ourselves. When I quit drinking, I had to deal with my mental illness straight on. And it was hard, okay? It was impossible. I could not do it. You know, I broke. I had to put myself back together with magic, knowing what I know now. You know, it was great. I have a great life now. You know, I'm really happy that I was able to do that. I'm lucky I was able to do that. But that was the initiation. It was because I was able to harmonize myself using what I had learned as a magician. All the initiations I'd already been through helped me out a ton. You know, I was able to get rid of the end of that, the last of the masks, you know, the last of the tools I used to hide myself from myself, right? That was what it was. I felt sorry for myself. That's why I drank so much. Poor me. What was I so sorry for myself for? Because life is hard. It doesn't make sense most of the time. You know? It's not that complicated. So I drank about it. I was mad. You know, I felt sorry for myself. And I was lazy. I didn't want to do the things I had to do. I didn't want to do it. It's hard to work for a living, to build up a life out of nothing. You know, I had to do it. I had to. That's why I did it. As long as I didn't have to, I wasn't doing it. I was drinking instead, like a brat. It's pathetic. Glad I am not that person anymore, you know. I'd love to blame other people for it, but it was me. It really was. But I was able to transform that. I was able to, well, me, I have transformed. I'm living a transformed life, and I credit magic with that. You know, I don't want to drink anymore. I don't think I could drink now because I'm a magician. I could drink if I wanted to. No, I'm an alcoholic. I can't drink. I've got something wrong in my chemicals. See, and I did the studying. I did the research. I know what's going on with my brain and my adapters and how they interact with the things that, in the parts of my brain that form addictions. I've got a different kind of receptor because of my trauma. Because those parts of my genetic core have been activated differently. So I don't get to drink. You know, maybe if I can reset my cells to how I was before, you know, I can't do that, by the way. That's not how it works. Great. Which I don't think I'd be, if I could be cured, of all my mental illness, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't take it. I don't think I would be, I don't think I would have the life that I have. And I don't think, I think that I think it's been worth, I can't say that because I've hurt so many people though, so I can't really, speaking on behalf of other people, I don't think it's fair for me to say that. from a perfectly selfish point of view, I'm very happy with where I ended up in spite of what happened. But it really wasn't fair to everybody else, you know, and it's not, there's really no excuse for how I behaved along the way. But, you know, I could just not do that anymore. That's the nice thing about being able to reinvent yourself. And it is a luxury and it is a privilege that I have, and I'm happy that I get to do it. And, you know, that's just how it is. So it is what it is, right? But again, that's what magic teaches us. That's what happens when you go through the alembic. You melt down everything that you used to be, and it purifies it, and it creates something new, right? Or pure. So you can create what you want. You find this imprint, this pre-imprint of yourself that reveals what your struggle is in life. What part of existence are you here to figure out for the all thing? What set of experiences are you creating for other people to figure out things, to understand what it's here for and what it wants to do with itself, right? We're a phase. We're a process. We're a part of the process. When I say you have to be at one with the process as well as the result, we're working on making this universe fair, right? The struggle in society between the left and the right, between trying to help people out and not harm people in the process of trying to help them, versus leaving everybody to fend for themselves and still like take all your stuff and keep it for ourselves anyway. You know, this, let's have slaves versus everybody's free, but we're going to tell you everything that you have to do with your life. You know, in between there is probably something useful, in my opinion, but, you know, it's no time for centrism, I guess. It's frustrating. I'd rather be in the center, but it's, the right's too strong. If you're in the center, you're basically on the right now. It's just not, it's not fair, you know, but it is what it is. So, oh my God. Sorry, you can see that I'm still kind of dealing with all this stuff. But within each individual life, you know, all of our experiences have created things that we have to integrate into our purposes as magicians, right? If you look at our natal chart and our from the astrological perspective, we're going to find that there's a theme that we're going to have to deal with in our life. And when you hit your Saturn return, there's this whole understanding that when you go, or at least my understanding of it is, when you go through your Saturn return, if you haven't dealt with all the issues that you're supposed to deal with karmically in your life up until that point, you just repeat the patterns. And if you have dealt with all your issues in a positive way, and you've overcome your challenges in a way that provided creativity and growth for yourself, instead of like harming yourself over and over again, you know, then you can go on to the next level of challenges, and you have a whole different phase for the next 30 years, right? And I like to think that that's what happened to me, but I mean, honestly, I could say that's exactly what happened to me. But if you don't get all your crap together by the time you hit 30, you have to deal with a whole new set of problems. You know, or I'm sorry, if you don't, you have to deal with the same set of problems over and over again until you deal with them, right? And it's like at 30, you have to deal with it. And then if you haven't dealt with it by 60, it starts over again. And if you've talked to enough 90-year-olds who still have their marbles together, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I really like talking to old people. I really like it more and more with every passing day. The older I get, the more I like to talk to them. It's almost as if they can understand me. They still call me young, though, so I like that. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, in the same way, you know, that you can understand your astrological chart tells you what your theme is in life. The process of initiation can reveal to you what it is you have to overcome to really become more purely involved in figuring out that part of everything. At least that's my cosmological understanding of all this stuff. Practically in life, if you are resonant with the seven spheres and the process of creation, I think you're going to be happier because you're going to have the things you want. And that'll make you in a better mood. And in the very short term, that'll make everybody happier. So that's the other reason to do this. But I do have a hidden agenda of making everybody a better person by having this process of purification that they have to go through to become more harmonized with themselves. And just for the record, Jason Miller has warned against doing this kind of thing. He thinks that it is inappropriate for me to offer this kind of thing to people. He hasn't said anything to me in years and years about it. This was years ago. I don't know if he still thinks this, but just for the record, leveler heads who are more conservative in their approach to things have suggested that this kind of thing is dangerous. So again, I'd like to warn people. Your lives are built on your crap. And as you peel away your masks and as you unmask and you reveal parts of yourself, you're going to lose friendships, you're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose relationships with your family, right? You're going to find out that your family didn't support you in things. They don't like the new revelations of recovered memories and the fact that you're not willing to just brush it under the carpet anymore. They aren't going to deal with it. And you have to decide whether you're going to cut off your family or accept that that's how they are, right? And then from a spiritual understanding, you can see what they're going through, right? And it gives you a different perspective on things so that you can determine whether your added involvement in their life is going to bring you harmony or not, right? But that's the thing about this set of initiations. It brings you to a point where you can decide whether or not you want to play the game, right? So in matters with family members, right? So my father and I didn't talk for years, and I found out later it was because in my opinion, we both had ADHD and didn't really communicate very well to each other and tended not to think about each other except for when we did. And when we did, we talked to each other, but I'm pretty sure he missed me a lot and I missed him a lot. But it wasn't until after he passed that I had to deal with all that, right? But, oh God, I forgot where I was going with that. Let's see, where was I? I was talking about how it was kind of dangerous to go through these initiations, and when I didn't, I don't remember what I was going with for that. But, shit. See, this is what happens with that. And just for the record, I take a lot of, I smoke a lot of pot. I had some pot before we started, and I probably shouldn't have smoked quite as much as I did. I don't really mind so much. I tend to be more honest about things, and the only problem is I go down these rabbit trails, and without somebody paying attention. By the way, you could always leave me comments to remind me what I was talking about. That'd be great. But I usually have a set of notes to go by, and I'll just go back to my notes. So anyway, pros and cons of the great work. The cons are that you have to dealing with your relationship falling apart, right? Yeah, exactly. So Laura says, already happened when I got serious about my magic. Almost everything fell away. Now I'm so grateful that it happened. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, is you get really happy because nothing that goes away is anything that is useful for you. And as your masks fall away, you realize at the core of who you are, Oh, that's what I was talking about. You get this spiritual understanding of your life, and you can see like I was able to see how my father was and what made him become the person he was, that made me the person I was, and how we resolved that relationship across our relationship in other ways, right? So it's like I saw a problem in our interactions that had created a disharmony in me that I was able to harmonize by realizing that overall that there was a harmony between where he was coming from, where I ended up, where and how we interacted to make that, right? And it came from this higher perspective that I got through these initiations. And that's the kind of thing that you go through, right? And it's like you go through these processes of dealing with personal experiences. And BJ Swain doesn't like when I talk about how magic is useful for self-help, because he doesn't like that magic gets confused with self-help. So a lot of what I'm trying to do here is present this as mystagoguery. Okay, this is me interpreting the mystical mythologies of the Orphic tradition in ways that are useful for self-help to reveal mysteries of existence that I think will transform you into more effective magicians. All right, that's to me the great work. That's what I'm teaching. This is the great work. The process of initiation in the Western mystery tradition, in my opinion, is to accomplish the great work through exposure of the magician to vibrations at higher levels that bring their sphere into resonance, resulting in the flaking away of all the negativity and the purification, and then the harmony between you and your source of energy. So like as you go through a Venus initiation, if you have sexual problems that you've been exposed to growing up, as you harmonize with Venus, those disharmonies that were introduced into your sphere work themselves out until you're pure again, and it cleanses you, and it's painful to go through in the process, and you might lose a relationship that's built on your pain and your coping mechanisms around that pain. If you've learned to deal with that trauma by building a life of avoiding it, and then you go through a ritual to expose it and have to deal with it, that part of your life is not going to work anymore. You're going to have to either replace it or deal with it going up in flames. Sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. You have to decide. I'm not in your life. I can't tell you if this is a good thing for you or not. I can tell you that for me, it's the only thing that I would do over and over again until I didn't have to anymore. And I will keep doing it for the rest of my life because I have found a way of purifying myself more cleanly over and over again in ways that reveal more about how things work and how I interact with it. All right. In ways that are very, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how to put it. It proves everything you always felt was true. For me, it proves everything I always felt was true. That when you're in school and you hear something, you're like, that doesn't sound right. What that part that doesn't sound right. That's because part of you knows there's something true about what they're talking about that isn't what they're saying, right? You sense that there's a truth hidden. All right. And there's an aspect of reality where there are things that are hidden, that finding out the hidden things is where you find your glory, right? There's something in the Bible about that it's the glory of God to hide a thing and the glory of a king to discover it. All right. And you as an empowered magician have the tools to do the discovery. Oh, and by the way, back to what I think BJ has to say about things. The BJ in my mind says, magic is about doing miracles. All right. And I want to be very clear in this. I teach a magical approach to self-transformation and self-empowerment that can be dangerous in ways of if you have a lot of attachment to your past and stuff and stuff, right? And you should definitely be in therapy. You should definitely have a therapist. All right, I can recommend a couple. They're wonderful people to work with for this kind of thing. If you don't have a therapist, you should reconsider doing this. Honestly, don't consider doing this if you don't have someone you can talk to about it. All right, I'm going to create a community where we can talk. There's going to be a Facebook group, maybe I don't know, maybe not a Facebook group, maybe not a Facebook group. I might just do it on my site so that only the people who are registered members of my site, who are registered in this boot camp, can interact with one another. That way we get off of Facebook and we don't have to worry about Facebook anymore. All the data stays on my data. It's not being sold to anybody, and I don't have to worry about advertising and all that crap. I don't think I keep cookies. If I do, it's only for whatever my website does, and I will tell anybody if I do anything. If I ever use your data, it's going to be I sell it. I don't sell it. I mean, I sell you stuff. I'm going to send you sales stuff into your email, and you can just deal with it and tell me to stop if it bothers you. I'll stop. But yeah, that's the only thing that your data is ever going to be used for. So the other thing I use it for is to make sure you get your classes. But yeah, I'll set up something so that we have our own community. We can talk to each other about this stuff, and it's not going to be exposed to anybody else. But the thing is you really do need a therapist to talk to. You need somebody professional in your life, an objective, trained person to communicate to about what you're going through and what's going on in your life. I am not that person. I am not a trained professional. I do not know from psychology. I talk to psychologists about what I am doing as a teacher. I talk to my therapist about the materials I'm presenting. She's a Jungian, and I have a very deep appreciation for the things that she understands about things, and we have talked about the process of transformation and initiation, and its value to us as people. Anyway, and I haven't gone into a lot of detail with her, of course, but in the conversations we've had, I just want you to know I'm not like coming out of my butt with this stuff, but at the same time, I'm not the therapist. I'm just a guy with an internet connection and some unverifiable personal gnosis about how things work, and some magical experience. And I know a lot about the grimoires. I know more about them than everybody else, except for the people who are no longer with us, and other people who know more than me. Except for those people, I know more about them than everybody. But I do have a stupid amount of ridiculous knowledge from Joseph Peterson's website. I think that if you haven't been to esotericarchives.com, you should go there. Everything I know pretty much comes from there, but I do think that I'm able to put it together in ways that are useful. So that's I keep talking about why I'm so cool about this, and I'm explaining why I'm actually presenting my opinion on these things. It's not because I really think I'm all that great. It's just that I think that my approach has been very effective for me, and it's still better than everybody else's. You know, it's better for everybody than everybody else's for people like me. All right, people that are not like me, it's not going to work for them. You know, but it's definitely for people who are going to make it work for you, and you'll know right away if you go through the first class. And you do so the first one's going to be an earth initiation. If you don't have an experience with a Maimon by the end of this earth initiation, you can just drop the class and be like, this is bullshit, right? Move on with your life and don't do anything else with me, right? But if you go through the Maimon class and just go through the earth initiation and meet the gnomes and have the whole process, then I think that you'll understand why we're doing all this stuff. All right, so those are the pros and the cons. The pros are you become the maestro, harmonizing your symphony of your existence, moving the forces that materialize existence from ideas in the mind of God into the material world through the 7 spheres and the 4 elements. We're going to do elements, the 7 spheres, and a holy guardian angel / supernatural assistant conjuration. All the things I think you need to be an effective magician in the Hermetic tradition. It's going to accomplish the great work in the process. It's going to purify you. It's going to cleanse out the negative parts of yourself. It'll force you to face parts of yourself you're not necessarily interested in facing. It could cost you everything, but nothing that you're really going to miss once you go through it, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. I think that's like all the worst cases I could imagine. Oh, dragons, there'd be dragons that will eat your soul. I used to try to tell people they'd be dead by dawn if they did this stuff, but you know, I can't stress enough that this is not good for you and you shouldn't do it, okay? Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Don't anybody tell me I said you should do it. I mean, you should do it, but don't say I didn't also warn you that you shouldn't do it. Okay? Don't do it if you don't want things to change at all. Like if you would rather have things, if you only want things to change for what you consider the better, based on what you know right now, don't do it. If you want things to change for what I think has been better for me in retrospect, that turned out to be better, that going through losing it didn't feel like it was going to be better at the time, then if you don't want that kind of experience, don't do it. But if you're okay with knowing the truth, even if it hurts, do it for sure. Because with it comes power. power to claim what is yours and make things happen as you see fit. It doesn't make you particularly wise or more effective at executive function. Just for the record, you still have to take your meds and talk to your therapist if that's your problem. But it makes those things less important. It makes those things so much less important as you go on, because your strengths are your strengths, and you get recognized for your strengths. You get recognized for what you're good at, and you get paid for it. Wow. Anyway, it's that's what happened to me, and I think it's happened to a couple other people, you know. And it's just things get better. Speaking of things getting better, there's going to be another prosperous life, right? I'll get back to that, and that's going to be the next The next full moon will kick it off. So March full moon, there's going to be another prosperous life, right? Speaking of things getting better for people. Okay, so pros, cons, the great work. Yeah, all right, so yeah, this initiatory process, again, what is initiation? Initiation is exposing you to a higher power that you conjure in this ritual that resonates and brings your sphere into resonance with it, and then you guys vibrate together at the same time, and all this crap that isn't in vibration in the right way that's related to that sphere falls away, and your life improves, and you get you have dreams about this spirit. You have dreams that are related to that power in your life. You start to you find information about the underlings of that spirit. You understand how to, you start working with them in ritual, and you start to see various results, and you start to fine-tune your approach with them. You work with dukes if you think that the dukes are Venus spirits, and you're working on Fridays with them. Oh, speaking of which, this is my Vepar's vessel of vitiation. It's Vepar there, a little copper seal, and then this is my little sealable container that I can put names in if I so choose. Anyway, haha. Yes, it was not just a clever thought on the internet. It was actually a thing that I made. Yes. What was I talking about? Yes. So after we go through these initiations, you're going to be magicians. You're going to have, hopefully you'll have knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel. You'll have the 7 spheres initiations. You'll have the 4 elemental initiations. You'll have an understanding of the process of manifestation, and you'll be able to start radically transforming your life. Radical life transformation rituals are the best kind for me. I have done one back in January, and February was just basically a month of trying to catch up with the results and realizing that I had misspoken a couple things, and reassessing my results and what I want instead. So I'm going to be doing something slightly different in March, but that's life, right? You make your plans, and if they don't work out the way you want, you do something slightly different. It did not fail. It was a success. I got what I asked for, but I think I'm going to ask for something different. I think I'm going to ask for something different now. Yes, because I'm going to ask for changes with what I got too, for sure. That it turned out to be one thing, and I think I see the path that I'm supposed to take to get what I asked for, and it's looking like there's a big problem that I'm going to have to solve, and I have to decide if that's something I want to do or not, and there's other options. So we'll see what we end up doing, because it's just, there's some unpleasant parts of life that I don't want to be a manager, and I don't want to have to fire people, especially with the economy being what it is. But yeah. Anyway, it's not really my place to even do any of that stuff, so I don't have to worry about all that. Anyway, thing is yeah, the initiation thing is sort of my side business now, because it's something I and by the way, this is free. I'm not charging for this. This is all going to be, I'm going to do this on Sundays at 4:30 in my normal shows. It's going to be part of this thing. You're going to see it whether you want to or not. If you show up, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear about it. If you don't want to hear about it, tune out. So it's just deal with it. That's what I'm doing for the next little while. Yeah, it's the Rufus Opus initiatory path to oneness, enlightenment, and attainment. Not enlightenment, but illumination and attainment, and being able to manifest whatever you want whenever you want. That's what I'm doing. I hope that everybody joins me as much as they can. I don't expect everybody to finish it all the way through. I don't expect everybody to do it all in one go. I want this to be an ongoing cycle of events. All of my course materials are provided as part of it. All of the hypnotic initiation things are part of it too. And there'll be a community to talk about it. And that's what we're going to be doing for the next little bit, is a boot camp on initiation to create magicians. Join me. I hope we all have fun. In other news, I did make this Vepar's vessel of vitiation. It's a nice little spirit pot that I can use for curse work. If you are looking for practical ways to use your magic, there are plenty of opportunities on our political front these days. I don't know what you believe personally as a person, as a human being. If you are not leaning left with things, I think you're a terrible person. If you aren't leaning far left, I think you're probably not paying much attention. If you're not like, I don't know, whatever. I have my opinions. If you are leaning right, or you think that everything's going to be fine, or that everybody's overreacting, or that maybe this is kind of a good idea, fuck you, right? Because fuck you. I'm done. But we're gonna do things to create a better world without those people, right? Because that part of the all thing sucks. So I want the people who aren't like that to be empowered, and the people who think they're like that, I think that this will actually cure them of that. I honestly think that anybody who is in touch with the all thing is going to be a liberal. I don't think that there's any way you can go through the process of magical occult initiation without siding with frickin' trans people when you get to Mercury. Okay, I mean, it's hermaphrodite. You cannot be a part of the Western mystery tradition and be on the conservative side of things. You cannot be in touch with the alchemical transformation, the red king and the white queen. You can't be in touch with that. You can't embody the dual nature. You can't understand the mystical formula of the OTO. You can't understand the process of creation without understanding the dual nature of the what was represented as masculine and feminine in the 19th century. Right? If you don't understand that, you can't understand magnetism. You don't understand how ferrousness is attracted to the fucking lodestone. You know, you don't get that stuff if you don't do the liberal thinking of things. The liberal thinking of things, it's just it's not. I mean, there are evil liberals, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think every liberal is good. I'm just saying that the revelation of the true light reveals liberty, freedom to pursue what is joyful and pleasant for yourself and others. And you want to do that. That's what the light revealed to me. That's what it's revealed to everybody I've seen it actually reveal itself to. You know, that's what it does, is it makes people righteous. It makes them enjoy righteous living, not to be self-righteous, but because it's the right thing to do, because it's fun. And why is it right? Because it's pleasing to the self. It's joyful. Anyway, that's what I think is going to happen. All right, so where were we? Just edibles. It's not just edibles. It's edibles plus. Let's see. Magic is self-help. Yes, I agree, Solara. Alexander says, I mean, magic that works is self-help by definition. Absolutely, it should be. The miracles should be self-help, right? I mean, honestly, I don't see what the difference is, but I recognize that there's a difference. So there's a semantic difference in my opinion, but there's a difference. Our kids are learning earlier that we were lied to. Yes, it's cathartic to hear this. Yes, thank you. You're welcome, Bigfoot. It's cathartic for me too. You know, this is all a big cathartic thing for me, right? I hope that other people are learning from me because, you know, honestly, I'm making more money than I ever have in my life. And I'm happier than I've ever been. And I'm with the best person I've ever been with. You know, my kids are happier than they've ever been. And my weekends are more fulfilling, you know. I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm able to create things and make money doing it, you know. And I think that it's amazing. And I think that everybody could be doing that, you know. And I think that it's because of my support from the magical, invisible world, right? And I think that everybody would be happier doing that. You know, I'm a craftsman now, you know. I have a religious message. I have a religious message behind what I'm doing here. I have a religious purpose. You know, I really do believe religiously that we were captured in our youth and made slaves, and that our time was robbed from us, and that if we reclaim our power as magicians, we free ourselves from their bondage. And that heals the world. Okay? That's the great work, in my opinion. That's my religion. That's what I'm trying to teach people to do. That's what this is about. All right. You're going to be going to church with me from now on if you show up on Sundays. And in my church, we do initiations. And the initiations are about the symbols of all the spheres. And we're going to go through everything from the 16th century about it. And we're going to hear about what I have to say about it. All right. And you're going to have access to all the course materials too. So sign up on my site. It's rufusopus.com. Oh, you know what? I haven't published. I haven't published the course yet. Probably will publish it Wednesday. So Wednesday, sign up for the course. All right. And that's where all the materials will be. I will be doing the class here on Sundays. Everybody's going to have to go to that site though to do the conversations with one another, just for peace of mind's sake. I think that's going to be the safest way to do that. All right. So other news. What other news? Everything talismans. It's the new moon, so I'm going to be pumping those out, as many as I can. Fascinous talismans. Get yourself a decent love life. The everything talisman would probably take care of everything. I mean, it should. I'm working on a class or a book that explains the how to work with those 28 spirits. This initiatory class, if you take the 7 spheres classes that are also free, they teach you all the things that I'm going to be trying to put into this book about the 28 spirits of the 7 pentacles in the Key of Solomon. It's just a super practical way to work with the planetary powers from the convenience of your pocket, right? I mean, anyway, that's basically what's going on for me. All right. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. Take care. Thanks for seeing this. I hope I had a comprehensive explanation of what initiation was. And I really went into the details of sort of the emotional sides of things so that you understood sort of how it gets, and what aspects of yourself you have to deal with.